Hi everyone. I wanted to jump on and do a quick live video about a topic that I know is extremely controversial, and it really pulls the heartstrings of those who are living. And it's about what your loved ones have to say about the doctors and the hospitals' policies regarding being able to be present with your loved one who is in the hospital struggling or perhaps passing from COVID. So maybe some of you have recently watched a video I just posted because I lost a dear friend of mine who was about 50 years old from COVID just a few days ago. And he had just kind of a really powerful message that he delivered to me that I was to give to his family regarding them not being able to be with him during his time of passing. So a little bit of background here. He went into the hospital on Friday. He passed on Monday, a few days ago. And he was so far in to having COVID that by the time he got to the hospital, his heart stopped. And so I think he was out of commission for about 20 minutes. They did CPR and put a ventilator into him. But the doctors had already said he would have neurological damage should he come back. So when I tuned in and spoke with him on Friday when I found out, his sister made a comment that she was really upset and didn't know what to do because she wasn't allowed to go in and be with him during this time, and she felt like she needed to give his support. And immediately he came through with such love and compassion for her and the regulations that she has to follow through the hospital policies. And this is what he had to say, which I thought was just beautiful. He immediately wanted me to let her know that he understood that it was water under the bridge, that there was no expectation for her or the rest of his family to be able to come into the room and be with him. Now, this is primarily because he was not even in his body anymore. He was hovering. He was deciding whether or not to live or stay on the other side of the veil. And so although his physical body was there, consciously he wasn't coherent. And he was everywhere. He wasn't just with his physical being in the hospital room. And so his understanding and what he wanted me to convey to his family was that whether they could physically go in or not and be with him, they were with him anyway. So I want to explain a little bit about how you can connect with your loved one if you're in this situation. And it doesn't even have to be because they are struggling with COVID. It could be that they're in a coma, they had a heart attack, they're passing for some other ailment and they're just not conscious. You have to understand that we're spiritual beings. We're also human beings, but we're spiritual beings first, which means we have the ability to connect across the veil, telepathically, intuitively, way better even than our five senses allow us to by picking up the phone and calling someone and having a conversation. We just don't know how to tune into that. We've been taught how to use our other senses for communication, but never really been taught how to use our intuition and telepathy to connect. So one of the things that he stressed in his communication to me for his family was that pull out a picture, sit in prayer, meditation, bring them visually into your consciousness and connect with them on a higher realm. They can hear absolutely everything that you're saying to them. They know that you are connected. They're present, whether you can feel them or they're giving you active signs or not. I'm here as a medium to tell you this. My friend across the veil was conveying this to his family. So don't feel helpless or like you're a victim or that you're just going to step into that anger because you can't be with your loved ones when they're in the hospital fighting for their life or have already decided to cross. You can still be a part of that journey with them. and they hear everything that you think. And so one of the beautiful ways that they communicate once they're across the veil is through telepathy through the mind. And so what you have to understand is the minute that you think of them, boom, they're there. The minute that you visualize them, they're there. You look at a picture, you hold a watch or a hat of theirs, you feel their presence around you, they're there. And so they really want you to know that whether or not you can be in the hospital with them or not, they hear you, they feel you, they receive your love, and that's powerful and important. Now, one of the other parts of information that came forward after his passing that his sister shared with me was that the hospital actually Zoom called the family in to the hospital room prior to the doctors disconnecting him from life support, which I thought was very interesting. And what she said is it really allowed the family to have closure, to be able to speak to him through the Zoom call, to play some music, to go over memories that they had with him. And so that opportunity that the hospital allowed for having a Zoom call with someone who is sick or ill or in a coma or passing was pretty powerful for the living. I know him as a spiritual being. He appreciated that opportunity for his family to have that. And so I thought it was interesting because when I tuned in with him, when he had already come out of his body prior to his physical body dying, immediately he said, "Oh, tell them not to be upset that they can't be here with me." He immediately said, "Tell them just to think of me, and I feel them, I know them, I have access to all the information outside of my physical body." So his experience of being on the other side of the veil, but yet not being able to be present with his family in the hospital was completely different than his family's experience, who needed to be with him, needed to see him, needed to have that closure, needed to be able to express their love for him in that way. So your loved ones across the veil don't think anything twice of you not being able to be there because they know they can connect with you on a higher level. Those consciously living still a human life are limited in their belief systems of what they've been taught on how to connect with someone who's in transition. It's like oil and water. But my message for you today is that, spoken from the mouth of babes, my friend says, please let them know that I'm around them, I hear them, I'm in their heart, and that's how I'm communicating. And from the message of the living, I need that closure. I need to know that my loved one knows that I'm there, that I care for them, that I want to care for them in their time of need. So two different perspectives. The great thing is that I think the spiritual perspective trumps it, because no matter what policy, no matter what virus, no matter what rules or regulations are placed on you, remember, please, that you're a spiritual being first. That means that you have a sixth sense, an additional sense, ability to be able to communicate with those across the veil that nobody can take away from you. So remember that. I hope that brings you some peace if you're struggling with any situation where a loved one is in the hospital and you can't physically be there. First, ask the doctors, hey, can you Zoom me in? I know that sounds silly, but it's for you. It'll help. And two, if you can't, know that you can sit in prayer meditation with their picture. The minute you visualize and think of them, they're there. And they know exactly how you're feeling. So don't feel limited on your ability to be able to care and express your love for your loved one, regardless of what's going on, rules and policies, government, all that. You're bigger than that, so learn how to access that power within. I hope this was helpful. Please post a comment below if there's any question that you have that I can answer for you. And I really appreciate you tuning in. If there is anything that I can do to support you if you're going through this type of situation, I'm here for you and know that. Thank you.